Gaming laptops are changing in some really noticeable ways, and the one we're looking at today feels like a preview of the future. This is Luke with Digital Trends, and today we're taking a first look at what is really the poster child for this new wave of gaming laptops, the Predator Triton 500 SE. We're going to take a look at the sleek new redesign, go over what's going on with the 16:10 display, and everything else that makes this a really unique gaming laptop. If that's the kind of content you're about, let me know if you want to see a full review of the Triton 500 SE. And while you're here, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We look at these numbers, and it really does help us learn more about you, our audience. So back at CES earlier this year, I checked out the smaller version of this laptop, the Triton 300 SE, which I also have behind me. And a lot of you, like me, liked this new design, but we're curious about whether or not the larger and more powerful Triton 500 would get that same redesign treatment. I had the same question, and now we have an answer. Now, side by side with the Triton 300 SE, the 500 SE obviously shares a lot in common with it. The same minimal branding, the completely redesigned silver chassis, and smaller footprint thanks to the really thin bezels along the screen. I even really liked that the 500 SE skips the faked brush aluminum look of the lid that the 300 SE has. Now, quick recap, the Triton 300 SE had a 14-inch screen, which remains a really unique screen size and made for one of the most compact gaming laptops you could buy. That's still true today. The Triton 500 SE, though, takes a similar approach, but in the context of a larger laptop. It's even the exact same thickness at just 0.78 inches thick. It has a 16-inch screen instead of what would normally be a 15 or 17-inch screen. 16-inch gaming laptops are starting to become more and more common as bezels get thinner and as manufacturers can squeeze more screen into that same form factor. It's the hot new screen size for larger gaming laptops, and I think we're going to see a lot more of these as time goes on. Now, there's two other important display trends that the Triton 500 SE embraces that make it a really unique screen. First, it's a QHD panel, at least the equivalent of one. It has a 2560 by 1600 resolution, which is a definite upgrade in sharpness over the 1080p panel in the 14-inch model, and from what a lot of 15 or 17-inch laptops of yesteryear used to ship with. Of course, Acer will probably also offer a 1080p model that is a little bit cheaper, but the higher resolution is an awesome upgrade now that you can get it with up to a 240 Hz refresh rate like on this one. And now the graphics cards can actually push that many pixels at high frame rates. Not only do you get that high refresh rate, the Triton 500 SE also comes with G-Sync, which is NVIDIA's anti-screen tearing tech. Now, you can use NVIDIA Optimus to switch graphics cards, which should improve battery life when you're not gaming, but it does require a hard reboot, which can be kind of inconvenient. Fortunately, there is a 99 watt-hour battery inside, which is the largest one you can legally put in a laptop. Now, back to the display. You may have been wondering about that kind of odd screen resolution that I mentioned earlier, or you may have just noticed how tall this screen is. Next to the 300 SE, it's kind of crazy how much more vertical screen real estate you're getting, and that's because it's using a 16:10 aspect ratio, which is the second big display trend that the Triton 500 SE picks up on. More vertical space isn't typically a thing gamers are necessarily craving for, but remember, Acer knows that people use their gaming laptops for more than just gaming. No reason not to make it as useful of a productivity device as possible. Speaking of which, this screen supposedly goes all the way up to 500 nits, which is crazy for a gaming laptop. Wasn't able to measure it myself, but sitting next to the 300 SE, there's a huge difference in brightness. For a gaming laptop, or really any laptop, that's really impressive. So those are the big new changes, that new display size and aspect ratio. But the Triton 500 SE also has an incredible amount of graphics performance under the hood too. And remember, it's doing this in a package that barely resembles the gaming laptops from just a couple of years ago. It comes with your choice of an RTX 3060, 3070, or 3080, as well as up to an Intel Core i9 processor. And these are the brand new 11th gen H45 processors too, so you're getting up to 8 cores and 16 threads, and the performance really should be quite good. Now, this is just a first look, so I'm not able to report on any benchmarking or testing, but if you've seen any of the reviews of these new chips or graphics cards, you should be able to get a pretty good idea of what kind of performance to expect. No sign of AMD on either the CPU or GPU though, so this is exclusively an Intel and NVIDIA affair as of now. My unit is the absolute maxed out configuration, which probably few people will get, but it comes with 32 gigabytes of dual channel RAM and a 2 terabyte SSD. If you do start with a lower configuration though, which I imagine a lot of people will do, the system does come with 2 M.2 slots so that you can upgrade yourself later for more storage. You can even upgrade the memory all the way up to 64 gigabytes if you really want to go all out on RAM. The Triton 500 SE uses the same keyboard as the 300 SE, according to Acer, but there are a couple of changes. Not only are the keycaps black now, they also come with a snappier feel, which I really enjoy. I still think these keycaps are too small for how big of a laptop this is. Like, why would you have so much unused space between these keys, especially when you could do something useful like enlarge the spacebar? Feels especially strange when you look at the cutoff keys on the function row or on the sides of the keyboard. It just doesn't really make sense. It also only has 3-zone RGB backlighting instead of per key. That's not the end of the world to me, but for an expensive high-end gaming laptop, it's weird for it not to have some more advanced backlighting. The touchpad though is really nice. The tracking feels really responsive and the click is nice and quiet. This is nitpicky, but I did have two little hangups here. I noticed the palm rejection isn't quite perfect, which is something that I've been noticing more and more on these larger Windows touchpads, and I don't know why, but they need to figure that out. Also, I don't know why Acer continues to put its fingerprint reader on the touchpad. It's just not a good spot for that, and it cuts into the usable space of the touchpad surface. One of the things that the Triton 500 SE absolutely gets perfect though is the port selection. It's everything you could possibly want. You get 2 Thunderbolt 4 ports, 2 USB-A ports, a headphone jack, a full-size SD card slot, an Ethernet jack, and get this, HDMI 2.1. All of that is the latest and greatest and ensures you can connect to pretty much anything and do it at the highest bandwidth possible. That's really good stuff. So yeah, there's a lot that this gaming laptop gets right. And with those new display trends that it kind of picks up on, and assuming that the performance is good once I can actually test it, I gotta say, the Predator Triton 500 SE just shot up to the top of my list as one of the most exciting new gaming laptops for 2021. Hey, thanks for checking out this video. I'm really curious, which feature of the Triton 500 SE looks most interesting to you? Is it the display size? Is it the aspect ratio? Or maybe that resolution? Leave me a comment below, and as always, I'm always happy to answer any questions you might have about this new laptop. While you're there, leave us a like and make sure to subscribe for more videos from Digital Trends.